are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Well, guess who's not recording with me today? Harvey is out in the pasture with the horses. It was so cute. I wish you could see it. The horses got here like a week ago from their winter grounds. They're here for the spring grass. And when I just walked past, both the horses were laying down, and Harvey was laying down in between them, like he thinks he's a horse, too. I think he wants to be. Oh, my gosh, he loves them so much. You remember Clyde and Whiskey? Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. So I might need a new recording partner. I might have to invite a cat in or something, because I have a feeling this is not a temporary routine. Oh, my word, did I get an amazing compliment? It was so cool. I thought, I don't think I can read that. But I'm going to do it anyway. Self-love practice. It goes like this. You're one of my all-time fave law of attraction coaches / experts. And I've been on this journey for over 15 years and have followed and read books and bought courses from a lot of experts. Lot is capitalized with 3 O's in it. That's why I said it like that. I thought that was a really cool compliment. Thank you very much for that. Good practice for me to receive that. It does feel good. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about perspective lately and how much it serves our conscious creation game when we're really good at being flexible with ours. Because, the way we perceive things is what sets us up for success or for failure, since our perspective affects our vibration, and our vibration dictates which version of reality we're getting. I get hired sometimes by someone who's just in what they think is terrible, terrible contrast. And they're like, wow, something's gone really wrong with my manifesting game. And all I see is a setup for amazing success, because that's what contrast does for us. It inspires stronger desire, and that's an essential part of our manifesting and our expansion. It's the step 1 of Abraham's 3-step formula where, ask, it's given, and then you allow. As long as we're perceiving it as a problem, we're not allowing. But what that incredible contrast can be is a huge platform for success. Remember how Abraham says, take the bounce? That's what it can do for us. It's different perspectives, totally different vibrations, totally different outcomes. Another example of the power perspective, like, when I've been critical of my weight in the past, and then there comes a day when I'd love to be sporting that body again. You know what? I can use that same perspective trick for where I am now, knowing if I keep up this criticism routine of my body, there'll be a time when I'd kill to be back at this. Whether it's at this weight or having all these healthy parts that I'm taking for granted. I know I don't know everyone's played that perspective game, but I know I'm not the only one. Or wow, talk about another perspective. Remember, maybe you don't want to, maybe you haven't heard. I know a lot of conscious creators do not listen to the news. There was a girl in Texas recently who went back to school after her doctor's appointment. Wow. Big emotion on this one. Even though her mom said she could stay home if she wanted to. It was the last day of school. But Mia wanted to spend the last day of school with her friends, so she went back to school. And that was the day a lot of students didn't make it home. And some would say her guidance failed her, that she didn't go home instead of going back to school, but I see it differently. I think she was very divinely guided. I think I don't just think. I have a very different perspective about that. I think she may very well be an agent of change. Same with those armed officers who are taking heat for not preventing this when they supposedly could have. You know what? Maybe they're part of the answer too. Part of the solution that doesn't involve installing armed guards in every school in the U.S. because we see how that doesn't actually work all that well. And look, I'm from Utah. I'm not anti-gun. In fact, I hope I'm not anti-anything because I know pushing against isn't the answer to any of our desires. I also know there isn't one right answer about any of this, about Mia's role or her experience or anything like that. But there is such a thing as a helpful perspective and a not so helpful perspective. And that perspective that I'm finding divinely guided, that one works better for me to feel better. And it might not work for anyone else. And it doesn't even matter because we aren't even meant to agree. We're not supposed to come to the same conclusions about what's preferred and what's not preferred. All that matters, from my thinking as a conscious creator, all that matters is that we each tend to our vibration so we can be the match for whatever it is we want to experience. Because universe can accommodate all of us, even when we have different conclusions and different desires. But we'll never get what we want when we're concluding or perceiving unwanted things. That's why I'm so interested in finding our flexibility of perspective. Oh, wow. I saw a crazy cool movie. Have you seen Border? It's a Swedish fantasy film. Wow. If you haven't seen it and you think you might, actually, you know what? Put me on pause and go watch a trailer. If it looks interesting to you, listen to this episode after you watch. I'm not going to offer any, spoilers here, but I think that movie is best enjoyed when you don't know what's coming, when you know as little as possible about it. It blew my mind. I'm talking about Border, Swedish fantasy film. I had to read subtitles. Oh my, I can't even tell you how much I loved it for so many reasons. And actually, you know why? I didn't even mean to watch it. Oh, Chad had turned on. There was a new episode of Serpent of Essex. I loved that book so much I kept it. I don't keep many fiction books on my shelf. Not very many. I have Kim Falconer's Spell of Rosette series. I have a couple fiction books on my shelf. I only have one shelf for fiction. And you know what? I kept The Serpent of Essex because, oh my word, I just loved it so much. It was an amazing love story. I loved it. Okay, no, I know not everyone would, but I did. Okay, and then they made it into a series. There was a new episode. I said, I can't watch it because I was doing something online on the laptop. I said, find something I don't want to watch. He was going to, I think there was a movie called Grandma or something. I said, no, that looks good. I think I might want to watch that. So he started Border. And I thought I was safe. I'd never heard of it. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's enough for me. Oh my word. I love it for so many reasons. One is because our main character gets a perspective shift that changes everything for her. It changes how she sees herself and her life. And that was given to her. That perspective was given to her by someone who had a different perspective than what she had been raised with. Because she was seeing big flaws in herself. And I'm not going to lie, I could see what she was seeing. I mean, yes, she had some super cool things going on about her, but wow, it seemed like she had some big disadvantages too. Until someone showed her something different. Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. And when we realized what his perspective was, wow. Oh, my word, my audio editor's going to have to do some volume adjustments just from the way I'm talking about this movie. You know what? This is also why I loved Wicked and everything that Maguire wrote, because he wrote it from someone else's perspective. It was a totally different story from someone else's perspective. Ooh, speaking of perspective, I had recreated a story from yesterday morning. And Jamie, in the comments, she said, this sounds like it'd make a great podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've actually been thinking about perspective lately. It fits in. So, we're having a totally peaceful morning. Harvey's in the chair. Samson's on the couch. And Harvey lifts his head up. He lifts his head up, and I could tell he's alert. And he waited like 2 seconds, and he ran to the back door, and I knew that meant he heard something from the horses. And it wasn't like, horses are playing, he wanted to go run. It was a different kind of alert. So I waited about 2 seconds before I got up to check, because I'm being respectful of my dog partners who were, alerting me to things. I want them to know I take them seriously. So they don't give me false alerts. So I got up to look, and sure enough, both of the horses were staring straight south. They were intently looking at something. I was like, dang, there is something. So I thought I better go check it out. As soon as I opened the door, and I told Harvey he had to stay. As soon as I opened, because I didn't know what it was, as soon as I opened the door, I could hear, there are strange men talking. They're close enough. They're probably in my yard. I stepped out. Sure enough, there are strange men in my yard. So that was an appropriate alert. And then I realized who they were and what they were doing. And I was like, okay, it's cool. But but I'll go out and say hi. And I didn't want to make the dogs stay in because, this is part of their job. So they're going to be fine. So I let the dogs out with me, and I didn't have them on leashes. I didn't even have collars on them. And Harvey went running. Bark, bark, barkity, bark, bark. And when a big German Shepherd, he's not a small German Shepherd. He's a big boy. Oh my gosh. Maybe all that running around with the horses will be good for him because he weighed in at 96, and the vet already thought he was overweight at 92. So that's almost a 100-pound dog come running at you. And German Shepherd, he doesn't have the pointy ears. He has a cute puppy floppy ears. He's so cute. But still, with that bark, woo. And Samson was right behind him. Samson was going, I'm telling this story too long. I love talking about my dogs. So Samson was like, yeah, barkity, bark, bark, bark. Nuh-uh, no one here. What are you? And I told Harvey, I said, it's fine. Or I said, it's okay. I can't remember what I said. And Harvey, oh my gosh, that guy, he's like he stopped instantly running. So he didn't make it very far. He instantly stopped running and turned around and looked at me. I love that dog so much. Samson, on the other hand, did not. He kept running. And he stopped barking, but he kept running. Because he doesn't have backup from Harvey anymore, so now he's not exactly sure. This fits into our perspective topic. So he doesn't have Harvey, doing the whole alarm routine, but he just kept running. He kind of paused. He stopped barking, but then he was like, "Strange men in the backyard? Yay! It's like his favorite thing. He loves meeting new people. He loves people. He doesn't get to meet nearly enough people in my life. We do not get that much company here. He was so excited. Once he was out of the whole, we got a problem routine, and once he realized, there's someone new to play with, he ran even faster. But he had a giant smile. His tongue is hanging out. His tail is super wagging. And Samson's even bigger than Harvey. So I'm not sure the guys were, felt any better about that than when Harvey was the one charging. But I hollered out that he's excited to make a new friend. And the guys they had stopped talking and stopped moving. They were holding pretty still for the routine. And, look, I'm a single girl alone. It's good for everyone to know I got dogs here. So it didn't hurt my feelings that they were maybe having a moment of pause. That's the perspective shift that Samson got when Harvey stopped his, we got a problem, these guys got to go routine. Where Harvey saw, get out of my yard, all Samson saw was, let's play. Who are you? What do you smell like? That made me smile. I'm still smiling about it. So speaking of perspective shift, sometimes we get one from our community. Like there was a line, I was reading The Premonition Bureau by Sam Knight, and there was a line in there that said, we see the world as our community sees it. We are drawn into each other's scheme of things. You know what? That's why one of our days of our 7-day money manifestor includes leveraging rich people perspectives. And it's why that gathering is so helpful for us to do it with others. Someone had said to me once, I hope I hear your animals because I never hear them. You always say we might hear them, but we never do. You know what? They're both barking right now. I'm going to go check it out. Hang on. Okay, now he wants to record with us. What a stinker pot pie. I guess that's what I get for leaving my dog out in the pasture when the construction workers roll up on the street. Oh, my word. I think what they are doing, I think it's really good news for me. Remember when I was so upset about the development happening here? I remember. I had to do a lot of work in changing that perspective because I knew the answer isn't move. The answer isn't try to stop it. The answer is find a way to feel better. And, okay, you know what? It maybe did feel better for a minute to try to stop it, but that evolved where a lot of times a lot of days, what felt better was just to relax about it, just to make some peace about it. And the more peace I make, I know this episode is about the power of perspective, not the power of peace. This is a sidetrack. But it's so cool how the more peace I make, the more relaxed I get about it, the better it keeps turning out for me. I think what they are doing right now, I'll spare details because that's not what we're talking about today, but I think it is really, really good news for me. Okay, and then for the person who had said to me, hope we get to hear your animals on an episode sometime, and I said, you know what, I'll intend that we do. Ta-da! There we go. All right, so I was talking about, how community can help us leverage a better perspective. I loved that quote from Sam Knight about we see the world as our community sees it. We are drawn into each other's scheme of things. And that's why with our 7-Day Manifestor, we're leveraging community in a couple of ways. One, as a group, just our gathering. People are already reporting amazing out-of-the-blue financial wins, and we haven't even started yet. You can join us, 7daymoneymanifestor.com to register. So we've got the power of community going in that respect, that we are gathered in this way to manifest this together. But also one of our daily activities is going to be leveraging wealthy perspectives. It's you know what? This is also where Good Vibe University came from. It's a setup for success when we join the right community. That's what I'm trying to say. In fact, I remember why GVU exists. Once upon a time, back in the day, oh my gosh, this is before Facebook even existed, when I would lead group events, I hosted them in Yahoo groups. That's how long ago it was. And at the end of the event, everyone would be like, oh, but do we really have to end? This group was so much fun. You just sharing, encouraging, celebrating, inspiring. It was so fun to be in that community. And we were experiencing it online in the Yahoo group. And they would be like, does it really have to end? And I was like, well, I got to go back to work. I've got other stuff I got to do. So yeah, I got to go. But I had the same desire they did. I didn't want that party to end either. And that's where GVU was born. Ta-da. But GVU wasn't just for all my fellow creators. It was for me too, because I knew I would be better at this when I did it with others who were up to the same game. I love how this works. However it is that you find your empowered, aligned perspective, you don't have to do it at GVU. You don't have to do it in the 7-Day Money Manifestor. But however you do it, you could do it solo. You could do it in a different group. But however you find an aligned perspective, well, that's what I'm inviting you to do. Find an aligned perspective. Be deliberate about setting yourself up for success with finding that. All right, I hope you did you hear his big sigh? He's so happy. So am I. I hope you are too. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy manifesting.